Hi, it's a pleasure for me to introduce Cathal O'Connor. He works for Microsoft Ireland and is one of the PhD students of Anthony Cronin. He has done a great work in relation to how to leverage on deep learning and artificial intelligence to create an inclusive learning environment with the aim of supporting people with reading difficulties. You have 15 minutes. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Good morning, everybody. I am Cathal. I've been with Microsoft for about 15 years now. I have about 25 years industry experience. Delighted to be here today. So what I'll cover briefly are the state of higher education on accessibility, equity, and inclusion. I'll touch briefly on some of the challenges we have for students with dyslexia for maths. I'll talk about some of the inclusively designed technology. I'll give some quick demos of Microsoft Immersive Reader and Maths Assistant. And then I'll talk briefly about some of the future research and the partnership opportunities between academic researchers and industry practitioners. So Microsoft's mission in education is to empower every student, educator, and institution to achieve more. It's all about people. With the pandemic, we saw a very significant increase in the demand for accessibility. We saw a 500% increase in the usage of Immersive Reader. The call volumes to our disability support lines were up over 200%. And we saw a 30-fold increase in the use of Teams captioning. Professor Sally Shaywitz, she's one of my heroes, a real pioneer in the area of research in dyslexia. Dyslexia is often taught as a deficit in the phonological component of language that's often unexpected. This is now codified in US federal law. The prevalence of dyslexia, it's very common. It's thought that 1 in 10 people in Ireland have dyslexia, many of whom need assistive technology. And dyslexia can have mental health implications, such as shame, embarrassment, low expectations. Oftentimes, this results in school failure. But up to 80% are not spotted in school. It's thought that in the US, the prevalence of dyslexia can be up to 1 in 5. This is based on some of the research in the longitudinal studies over the last couple of decades by the likes of Professor Shaywitz. Some of the challenges we see of maths for students with dyslexia, the language of maths, oftentimes different words may mean the same thing. Add, addition, total, cumulative. Sometimes the students, because with their dyslexic reading challenges, don't always understand what's the question asking. They don't understand the task. Sequencing in maths is hugely important. Oftentimes you have to follow a very strict sequence in order to find a mathematical solution. The orientation that we use, symbols, characters, all different types of fonts, can also create a challenge for students with dyslexia. Remembering tables, formulas, calculations, understanding what the axes on graphs mean, the challenge of working memory, and also pose students with dyslexia with particular challenges. And this can result in the lack of confidence in their own maths ability. It can result in anxiety. Dr. Flavia outlined, some amazing work in the area here, and it's something that, really needs to be developed further to really understand the challenges of maths, some of those barriers for students with dyslexia. This is Christy. She's a 4th grade student in the US. She loves reading. She loves practicing reading. Her teacher also likes to encourage all the students in our class reading. Here you can see an example of Microsoft Teams for education with reading progress and reading coach. You can see the correct words per minute, the accuracy rate. It can spot the mispronunciations, the errors and omissions. And I'm just going to play a quick video of this in action.
Helping kids learn how to read is one of the most challenging topics that an educator has on their plates. I started using reading progress in the fall of last year, and what's nice is not only can we have more students being assessed at the same time, but the students themselves want to read more. They love being able to read out loud, they love knowing that they're on camera, they love being able to watch themselves. They are asking for more opportunities for reading progress assignments, taking ownership of their learning, and all of the tools in reading progress really let them do that.
The seasons, the atmosphere, and all the natural.
These words were the most challenging for you. Select any word to tackle them again. At, must, fear.
Atmosphere.
You are making your brain stronger. Nice work.
Reading coach is truly a dream come true for teachers. I can have a class of 30 students all getting feedback and individualized instruction, and now they know how to read a word that they were struggled with.
They get almost all of the water they need from their flexible, omnivorous diet.
One of the things that I love about Insights is that I can just scroll right down and it shows me at a glance the words that students were struggling with. And I'm able to see student by student what their needs are, and I can pull them from small group instruction based on what they need. When I see the future of reading progress with Reading Coach, I really see how the students are going to respond. They want to do better. They want to improve upon their last attempt when usually they don't have that opportunity. The fact that they can practice reading out loud in a safe space and build their confidence is one of the best things about reading progress.
So this is just one example of how inclusively designed products are for the benefit of all. I'm going to briefly touch on a couple of additional tools, Immersive Reader and Maths Assistant. Christy wants to go to higher education. She wants to become that doctor, and some of the tools here can help her when she goes into higher education. This is a quick demo of how we can improve your reading with Immersive Reader.
Use Immersive Reader in Word to improve your reading skills. Select View, Immersive Reader. Choose one of the options. Column width changes line length to improve focus and comprehension. Page color can make text easier to scan with less eye strain. Line focus removes distractions so you can read line by line. Text spacing increases the spacing between words, characters, and lines. Syllables show breaks between syllables to improve word recognition and pronunciation. Read aloud lets you hear your document as each word is highlighted.
The Amazon rainforest is an expansive forest located in the Amazon basin.
And now in terms of, I mentioned some of the challenges that students with dyslexia have with maths. The Maths Assistant in OneNote, it empowers students to access and engage with maths in concepts in a much more personalized way. They can use the personalized experience. They can use the immersive reader built in. They can build important math skills by seeing the sequences of how the equations can be solved. They can read the equations out loud. Many times, math symbols, equations are inaccessible to students, but this is an example of where they can understand the mathematical equations.
Steps using the quadratic formula. All equations of the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0 can be solved using the quadratic formula.
So I'm not going to get into too much of the technical details, but underpinning all this technology is neural text-to-speech. There's been huge advancements in this area over the last couple of years. Briefly, we can see that we take the text, we translate it in terms of the text analysis. We go through a phoneme conversion as part of the acoustic models, which then converts the MEL spectrogram into the vocoder model. And finally, we have that speech synthesis that we hear within the tools. Some of the research that underpins immersive reader and other text-to-speech and read aloud services. We saw some of the use of font spacing, line lengths, breaking words into syllables, how page color can reduce the distraction. We can also understand how we can increase the reading speed and comprehension for all learners by simultaneously highlighting and voicing the text. As I mentioned, this is a hugely interesting and a lot of work and a lot of research in terms of trying to improve the quality of the synthesized speech. You know, the goal here is to increase the intelligibility, the naturalness, expressiveness, prosody, emotion, and style. We can do that with more robust text-to-speech, tackling those edge cases a lot more efficiently. We can bring a lot more expressiveness into it. So instead of what sounds like a news talker, that it's much more human-like in terms of expression, emotion. The AI models that drive all this neural speech synthesis, they often have millions or billions of parameters that are part of the training. This generates a huge amount of energy and it emits a lot of carbon. So there's a lot of research into the area to try and reduce the footprint of these models. Also to enable them that they can run on low memory devices such as Internet of Things. And then there's a huge hype at the moment around generative AI, the idea of generating text to video and talking heads. And what does that mean around the responsible AI and the ethical use of text-to-speech? And this is a hugely important area as we move forward as academic researchers and industry practitioners. And then finally, inclusive design, the innovation that drives, it benefits everybody, from the bendy straw that originated in hospitals to help patients feed is now everywhere. The utilities we see in our kitchen, you know, that were developed to help people who had arthritis in every kitchen. We saw how text captioning is available initially for deaf or hard of hearing persons, now available in every restaurant and bar. And those supercomputers that we all have in our pockets can leverage text-to-speech, speech-to-text, and so much more. The possibilities here are endless. And inclusion and equity drives innovation for everyone. Thank you very much for listening.